For those of you who are plugging in right this very moment, my name is Tracy Palo. Been with the company a long time because I wanted freedom. I wanted more control over my life. 35 years today. Right now, it's like beginning a brand new business and taking advantage of what our company has recently invested $500 million on your and I's success. And for those of you who are going to join us in this movement, I'm not going to take any more time because I trust that Craig Bryson, I'm going to be standing up for this one, founding distributor of our entire company and well-respected within the industry of direct sales. He's been a pivotal part in transitioning our company where we will have no competition. Wouldn't you want to be a part of a movement, be part of a business acquisition where we have so much control over the industry? That's where we're headed. So with that said, I'm bringing my partner and friend, Mr. Craig Bryson. Come join us and give us some secrets.
Right. So Nu Skin has been able to create markets, create additional successes. They've also been able to spotlight markets. Those of you who have participated in Nu Skin going back to the opening of Japan, you understand the implication of actually looking at a market and saying, we're going to go into that market, we're going to develop new networks in that market. As a consequence, we're going to raise the level of successes, not just for the company, but for the distributors and for those people who are developing networks. And again, if you go back and look at those numbers, Nu Skin has been able to create a success in Japan that's been dynamic. After a couple of years, we did $600 million in sales. That's the equivalent of $1 billion in today's inflation-adjusted American dollars. And so as a consequence, you can see that company action in terms of identifying markets, in terms of developing markets, can produce great successes. In a very real sense, Nu Skin was part of the globalization of trade. We moved out in the 80s and into the 90s, and we participate now in somewhere around 53, 54 countries. And the reason is for the last 40 years, the globalization of trade has been the biggest element within the economic history of the world. And we participated in that, in part because the company saw the implications and the technical advances that they participated in the creation of a real-time opportunity where they paid you in the same month that volume is created in Japan and Indonesia and China, is that was an advance for the industry that Nu Skin led. And they created a globalized business that, again, created tremendous successes for those people who saw the opportunity and that then utilized their knowledge of the business to go into new geographic markets. And so it doesn't take much more than a casual look to understand that going into new markets is the foundation for additional revenue, additional income for the participants. And even more important, for those people who are new in the business, that then look at a new market and that they create a revenue stream through the creation of a network. Those people get the biggest return. In other words, everyone here who has a group that goes into any of these 4 countries, you know those first people who laid the foundation in those countries are the ones that have gotten the biggest return. And that's just the way it works. You go into a new market, you lay the foundation, and you get the benefit of participating in something that is new. And that is what we're going to talk about. Something new is being created. It's being created because of technical change. There is an economist, he's a Nobel Prize winning economist, and he basically said all growth in the industrial world has come from technical change. In other words, it's not from inputs and a host of other things. It's technology changing the way business is done. And that is what we've witnessed in the digital revolution, is that those of you who are old enough, we've seen how businesses have had to change because technology has forced it on those individuals. There is a change that is taking place right now in the world of direct sales and in the world, the larger world of retail. And that we appreciate that this isn't something that we're going to do because, oh, it looks exciting. This is something that has to be done. in order for us to stay current, in order for us to stay modern. And in the process, as we do something that is new, we will open up new markets and we'll open up new revenue sources, and that will open up new opportunities for a lot more people that will give us a greater return than what we've been getting over the course of the last little while. And we know that this is true. Nu Skin started to support online or social media sales. Those women who participated in social media sales, many of them have made significant amounts of money because they had tapped into a new way to communicate. And so this is something we're very used to, and that we know, and that the AI revolution, the artificial revolution, is as big as anything that we've ever seen come out of the tech world. It means that businesses are going to change the way they do business. And it isn't just individual aspects of business. And you all see AI, in your life. You see information giving you avenues. You see it on Google as they where you're going to go, when you're going to do it, and when you make travel arrangements, they put up maps of the you're going to land to. All of that is artificial intelligence attached to an algorithm that allows Google to understand what is going to take place in your future, and that then they send you down the road that we're maybe able to sell you advertising. Is that we're going to see systems change, how businesses do business, and that is what we're going to talk about right now, because Nu Skin is going to change the system. And those companies, our competitors that don't understand this, those companies that aren't going to change their system to participate, they're going to be left behind. And there's nothing they can do about it unless they embrace it. And it's all because of information. Information has been said in this new world to have more value than money. And those of you who are movie people, and I like this story because I like sports, and it is a visual representation of what I mean by the statement that information is going to change systems and how things work. If you watch the movie Moneyball, Moneyball is about baseball, and it's about the advent of statistics coming in to baseball, and that it changed the way people looked at how baseball players were chosen, who was valuable and who was not. And so that if you watch Brad Pitt as the general manager of the Oakland Athletics, you see him embrace this concept and using numbers and algorithms in terms of what is valuable as far as baseball is concerned. And then you see him around the table in one scene with these veterans who think that they are experts in baseball, and they don't understand that the system of baseball was changing. And so as a consequence, the Athletics, with virtually no money, they become competitors. They are constantly in the race for the divisional championship. And the end scene is that the general manager of the A's is with the owner of the Boston Red Sox. And the owner of the Red Sox says that if everyone isn't breaking his team down along the lines that you have described, he says they're all going to be left behind. And that is the importance when systems change and technology forces the change of systems. If you want to keep that analogy in sports one step further, basketball is not the same business as it was just 15 years ago. And statistics and information and algorithms have changed it. It used to be you had a 7'1" center who shot baskets 2 or 3 feet from the hoop, and that those were the most important people in basketball. No more. Statistics have shown it's the guard that shoots 10 to 12 3-point shots every game. The most important shot now in basketball is the 3-point shot from the quarter. Who's important has changed, why they're important has changed, and that has all come because algorithms have opened up the whole idea of what's important, what's valuable, and how things can be done more effectively, and how more success can be gained by a greater understanding of the industry that you're in. And that's what's going to occur. As you take a step back and say, okay, what is it that they're trying to achieve? And you say they want to achieve the influx of so much information from so many different sources that they can make the productivity of the business so much more productive, not just for themselves, but also for the distributors, that the income creation is going to dwarf what has taken place in the past, and that it doesn't take much of a look to understand how this might work. All you have to do is look at their first step with Vera, where they're not even using an AI foundation. They're using basic metrics. They're finding out who uses and when do they use the LumiSpa IO. They found out the time of day. It helps them to know how they can communicate with people. And so it's the first little step that is opening their eyes in terms of how their products are used, when they're used, who's using them, and that will allow them to make decisions in terms of how they communicate with those customers, how they can sell more things to those customers through the power of information, and how they can enhance the business through additional retail sales that they would help to develop. One of the core understandings of economics is the value of specialization. A company becomes more profitable and more valuable when they specialize the participants, and that you can see that through an AI involvement with retail sales. You can see where the company could collect information. They would know when people use the products. They would know when the connection of one product to another product was established. They would know when they could advertise information about their product line, at what time of day, at what season. All of these things will add to a greater amount of retailing and consumption. And with it, as it flows through the marketing plan, a greater income for the participants who collect that information and who build the networks. But it isn't just on the product side that AI offers us such a large possibility. Is that if you look at the information flow that we need as distributors, it would be unbelievably important to us to know what is the percentage chance of a 27-year-old male who's unemployed to be successful in pursuing the business? What about a 45-year-old man at the height of his career? What about a young woman who has started her career but decided to pursue something else? There's so many questions about who becomes successful and why, and those questions are unanswered even by the most expert of distributors. And that AI offers us the possibility of collecting that information, sharing that information with the distributors so that we know who's going to be successful, who's not, and the path that they have to take. A 27-year-old man would take a different path than a 67-year-old woman. And yet, historically, we've taught people to do the very same thing. If we break up the distributorship into segments, we can be more effective in terms of the creation of leadership and the creation of our network. And that creation of that network increases the amount of information that flows through the company, that helps them to create more income through product sales, that increases our income, that helps us to build the network to a larger size. And it all comes from the flow of information as it passes from the distributors into the company, to the customers, out to the distributors, and back again. And that it is different. Success in technological advancement is not just small ball success. It's when systems change. And that's what Nu Skin intends to do. It isn't that they're going to add one new market. They're going to glean markets through the change of the system of direct sales, how people are found, how they're trained, how their information provides us an avenue to sell more products. And in that process, just so you understand, in that process, we also will create more and different products. One of the things that technologies allows us to do is to create different products because we see different opportunities that emanate out of the information flow. And so that it isn't that we'll sell more of the existing products, is that information flow will help us sell more products in general. Maybe there'll be informational products that we shared shared with other health-conscious people, health-conscious businesses. There is just a host of things that can take place when you step back and look at how the business works, when information fits in to the middle of the business.
Hey, Craig, can I just stop you there and ask you a quick question? Because this is, I mean, I'm sweating. I'm so excited. And I'm watching faces on here of leaders, seasoned leaders that have literally come out of retirement because we don't want to miss this window of opportunity. So when you say, when I hear AI, and I know that we've all kind of been hearing about how companies are transitioning into using AI to develop better business processes, I get excited for Nu Skin, and I get excited for the sales leaders. And the two words that come to my mind is efficiency and accuracy. And those two things, I believe AI will help us experience that as we build our business, and of course, be more efficient along the way. What's your prediction as to, because you're a visionary, what's your prediction on where we are headed in the next 3 years in terms of growth because of introducing AI?
First of all, let me just say this. I'm not interested necessarily in AI filling a need in this corner or that corner. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the AI's ability to change the system of business. It is the difference if we go back in technological advancement. It is what took place with the advent of electricity. Electricity could pop on a light bulb. That was great. But the true financial impact of electricity wasn't until factories created brand new systems of development of their products using electricity at its core. In other words, so that's where we are right now with AI. AI is filling a little void here, a little void there. It creates a product here that it's important. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about system-wide change to where companies that do not embrace those systems are at risk of collapse. And I want it understood that risk of collapse of our competitors opens up new pools of potential distributors for us within Nu Skin. If you look over Nu Skin over the course of the last few years, you can see several things that I think it's important for us to understand. Is that the people who have become very, very successful over those years have basically been young women using social media to spread the product sales into a broader array of a broader environment. So that's been great. But over the course of those last 5 or 6 years, virtually no men have been sponsored. And the nature and the culture of the company has been affected by that. So let's take a look at that alone and see what the upside potential of changing that. An information-based company that uses AI, that the sponsorship story is based on information, artificial intelligence, product production, all of those open up the door to male participation. So in the United States alone, that's 160 million people. When we went into Japan and we developed that $1 billion worth of revenue in Japan, they had 130 million people. And so that when I say that we can go into the male segment of the market that we haven't touched for years, I'm saying that we can open up a market that holds the potential of $1 billion just in the United States, just in the fact that we haven't been participating in the male market. And so that is part of opening up a new market with a new story, male participation. The biggest demographic group that is taking place in the United States are people who are over the age of 55. That group is growing the very fastest. It is growing where other segments of the population is shrinking. And if you create an AI system where the company is doing, let's say, the bulk of retailing, and that the distributors are being specialized in terms of connecting people to the company and gleaning information, that means that people who are over the age of 5 have a far greater chance of becoming successful in a meaningful way. And that means tens of millions of people come into our marketplace with the upside potential being increased proportionately. And so that AI offers us a pathway into markets that we see clearly, that are right in front of us, that are our next door neighbors, and that hold the potential of increasing revenue, not by 2 times, but by 4 times and 6 times. And that is by itself is a tremendous advent in terms of the opportunity as we look at it right now. But AI holds the potential of doing so much more because we're creating a new system. If you want to know the impact of how a new system in retailing can be successful, all you have to do is look at Amazon. Amazon came in and selling books online, but ultimately Amazon's success wasn't that they were selling books online, is that they changed the system of retailing online. And that's what I'm suggesting. AI has the potential of changing the nature of direct sales. And one of the things that you can see in Amazon, you can see they've tried to personalize it with the recommendations and reviews, all these different things. Well, we're already there. The advantage that we have in direct sales is that we are personalized. That is the core attribute of who we are. And so that in terms of the world of collecting information, you're going to give your information to your sister or to your brother or to your mother or to your son. All of those things are going to give us an advantage in a world that is changing dramatically, and that I cannot underestimate the implications of that for those people who build networks and are able to participate in a new system, in a system that basically, if you look at it, will allow people to create more money with less effort, because the company specializing in the movement of products will be able to move more products online than we do one to another. And that will change the system of how direct sales works. And that, I love all those people who are in those other companies, but I'm very competitive. And so I want to take every dime of their revenue and every person who's in their company. And I think that the possibility of enlarging ourselves as other people struggle is a very real possibility as we change the system of how it all works.
Craig, I have another question for you. And I know many leaders are on right now because we just are so inspired by your vision and vision of accuracy, because you've been talking about this for years, and now it's happening. So my question for you is we know that the home kit assessment industry right now, I had no idea, sits at a $10 billion growing industry right now, projected to grow to almost 30 billion by the year 2030. And now Jeff did such an amazing job kind of educating us, because he has sat right next to you in these private meetings, that we keep hearing the terms in 12 to 18 months. There may very well be that first release of a DNA assessment that can offer our customers information and give them more accurate recommendations in terms of product. Can you share a little bit about that?
First of all, the numbers are staggering. The numbers that are associated with the advent of AI into the marketplace go up to $15 trillion. That's with a T. $15 trillion will be added into the marketplace because of AI's ingesting into the world economy. That is greater than the economy of China and India combined. And so when you really look at the numbers in terms of what penetration is when you look at an artificial intelligence environment, it's overwhelming. In terms of system, or not systems, but in terms of assessment, let's not look at those other assessments right now. Let's look at what's taking place on Vera and our assessment. So the assessment at the beginning, people who took the assessment, and so they started this just recently. Last time I spoke, they had 85,000 people who had taken the assessment. 8% of the people, when they took the assessment, ordered products. And then over the course of the next couple of months, that 8% has now grown to 35%. And so what we begin to see is the confirmation. You look at Amazon as an aggressive, forward-looking company. They're moving into healthcare. They're moving into health generally, and they're not doing it, as let's try this. They're doing it because they have looked at the numbers and they understand that how health works is changing, and they want to be a part of that change. And so, in terms of assessments, in terms of DNA, in terms of all of those things would just be part of the information flow out of which recommendations would be made. And so that the more information we have, the greater the value of those recommendations, the more accuracy that those recommendations will have in terms of meeting people with a product that they want, because we understand them through the assessments and through the collection of DNA, through the collection of information outside of those realms. DNA is only a part of the collection process. The gathering process is the key. As people theorize in terms of who's going to be successful with artificial intelligence, they have come to understand those people who collect the most information will be the most successful people in the transition that we see taking place. I did a fair amount of traveling when I was during COVID, and to get back into the country, I would have to take tests. That was home delivered. So I would take my test. I would be on the phone with someone. It has broken down the barriers of what people do on their own at home to understand what their medical needs are, or what their beauty needs are, what their skin needs are. We're not going to get into the world of trying to do prognosis on people's cancer. That's not where we're headed, but we can be helpful in terms of genetic markers that will help people understand what they face. And just so you know that there's an end game in this. Out there in the digital world, over the course of the last little while, artificial intelligence has allowed companies to build digital twins. And it's not just health companies or companies that deal with biology. Is that you have people who are building airplanes by creating a digital twin, which means they create that plane digitally before they waste their money trying to create it physically. And that there are athletic teams that build digital twins of their players, so that they know that certain positions are prone to certain injuries, that certain exercises prevent those injuries, that certain genetics lead people to decline in their sports ability at a certain age. All of those things will emanate out of the collection of information and the creation of a digital twin. And that we will see the rise of digital twins, not just in terms of hard manufacturing, but we are seeing the advent of digital twins in the world of health. And that we can collect information with a digital twin as an end goal. And that's part of a systematic change in terms of how people buy products, why they buy products, how they understand their health, and how they understand how they can maintain their health and maintain youthful vigor deeper into their older age. The first conversation I had with them about digital twins was more than 2 years ago. And so that this is something that they've thought through over a long period of time, and that they're going to work towards as well. But it's all part of a revolutionary change in the system of how products are sold, how products are created, and how we interact with our customers and our distributors.
Wow, Craig, thank you so much. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm certainly extremely excited for the future of where we're headed. I want to ask Jeff Mack to unmute, because some of you might have questions right now wondering, well, now what? What do we do? Some of you are on here for the very first time, hearing where we're headed as a company and want to participate in this fast growth that we're going to experience. Jeff, what are some words that you want to share with people on we're pre-positioning? What do we do right now?
Well, Craig's the master. If you were listening to described, what he's described is a complete change in the direction that the whole world is going to go. And not everybody is on board with that yet, but certainly that's where it's going, right? And so the first mover advantage is important, and we've taken that. And based off of Craig's brainchild and the vision he's had, the company is listening, and they've invested that money. And so, when we were in there the other day, I said, we need to leak this, right? And they're like, we're not ready to turn it on yet. And I'm like, doesn't matter, okay? Is the opportunity exists right now for the early adopters and the innovators. So those are the people, all right? And so in essence, if you're on this call right now, chances are you've talked to the population base because you're responding right now before the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. All right. And what I mean by that is this: 18 months from now, when this system turns up, we're able to collect DNA and it's be able to go into the system, and the company comes back and can make recommendation as the AI capability kicks in. Okay, that's a finite thing you have your hands on. A whole plethora of people will pile into the business at that point because, oh, that's the time for me. All the I's are dotted and are crossed. That's awesome. That's when the masses move. What my experience has been, and others on this call have been, if you can have the vision to see before the masses recognize the movement, you position yourself in front with a foundation of distribution and leadership. And as that's in place, that wave comes. If you can imagine, when we say we turn this on in 18 months, a wave, okay, a whole wave of assessments go into the market. And that's a product, right? People get assessed and it comes back in. That information now gives us the capacity to make that recommendation. And so really, here's what's happening right now. Craig's vision is absolute. And the marketplace before the marketplace understands it because of that information. The thing that I enjoyed the last 3 years was watching him connect with Ryan Napierski, our CEO. Ryan's similar to Craig. These guys are very intelligent, and their idea of fun is reading stuff, all right? I'm not the best guy at reading stuff. I do read stuff, but I also recognize intelligence and I can see vision. And that kind of stuff comes into the mix. So it's really simple right now. If you're hearing this message right now and you've been looking to be in the right place at the right time, I can assure you're in the right place at the right time. But you got to take action. I mean, I can hardly sleep anymore, right? Because I know what Craig's talking about. I'm under a non-disclosure. There's some other things he and I can't explain to you right now, but let me just tell you this. The backside of this thing is so big, it'll melt your brain when you hear it. It almost melted mine, all right? And so I'm sitting here thinking, this initial stage, all we need to know is that what's coming is significant and life-changing. And so you want to open your mouth and tell everybody you can and get them on board. And so as people come on board, the reality is sometimes people hitch and say, well, what are we selling them? Well, you know what? The products you can sell right now are the same ones that'll be recommended when the assessments come on. We've got product technology now that's created the best products in the world, and they're available right now, right? So you come on board and you purchase your package. First of all, you go to newskin.com, you get on there, you enter the ID number of your sponsor, and then you purchase a package we call U+2, all right? That package is, here's the number, so write this down. It's 011-30249. You'll put those on subscription. You'll use them up in a month. That's what they're geared for, and it'll replenish the next month. Now, that duplication model in place, you're laying your foundation, right? Several people on this call right now that I've personally invited to come and listen to Craig. Now, why would I do that? Because this is the system of exposure. Now, I could get on the phone and talk to those guys for an hour myself and explain things, but I don't do that. I send out copies of the video. This will be available soon. We did one a couple of days ago, right? That's the one I use. I just send out to them. Here's the thing. If I was starting right now, I would go in, I would register, I'd order my package, and I'd get the video out to everyone on my list, right? These are people that I think are hey, they're business people. And hey, let's say this. The economy as it sits right now post-COVID is going to serve up the best prospects we'll ever find. You know why? because the economy has beat the crap out of people the last 3 years. And some people out there, they're not the guys looking for a handout. They're not the guys standing in the welfare line. They're people that have had some success in their life, but the economy has chewed them up. And they're saying, where can I spend my time to get the best return? That's the definition of an entrepreneur. When they hear this story and they understand what's going to take place based off of not just hype, but real information, they're going to come and join us. So they execute that. So I use the video to sift. As the video sifts, and then we follow up, it's done a lot of the heavy lifting. I fill in the gap. I do. I was just on a call today with a friend of mine. Same thing. He saw the video the other day. What do I need to do? I'm ready to go. Okay. Go to Nu Skin. Here's the sponsor number. Order the package. Make a list. And let's get on the phone so we can explain a few word tracks and what you do. That's it. Now, you lay that foundation now. It's going to get even faster.
But what I want to point out, what Jeff said, that hopefully all of you guys heard, do not be married to the outcome. As we enter into momentum, you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. Today, we as leaders, for those of us that are on here, we know what's coming. We're not in the business to convince anyone to participate in what will be one of the fastest growth periods of our company. So simplify the duplication model, just like Jeff mentioned, and you will find those people that want to go all in and participate in this movement. You know why? Because you will send them the to-do. Go to nuskin.com, get your account set up, order this package, and let's make your list and let's duplicate that. Those, go ahead.
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
So I just want to reinforce what Jeff said, because Jeff said something that's unbelievably important. And that is that it's going to go faster. Many of us have gone and pre-worked different markets, whether they were foreign markets or whether they're markets here in the United States, and that they had a certain sequence that we participated in. And so that we went into Japan, and we went into Australia, and we went in to Taiwan, and that we spent a year laying that foundation in those new markets. But what Jeff said is absolutely right. It's probably the most important thing that has been said today, and that is it's going to go faster. And that one of the reasons it has to do with that non-disclosure. We have been talking about this fabric that is being discussed right here. The last time we met, the company added an observation and a commitment to something that we had not talked about, that had to do with Vera. And it was like, oh, they get it. They understand what is taking place fully and completely. And that it was like, all right, this is going to make the business develop faster. And that there are some issues that they have to work through. But it wasn't just confirmation of their commitment of what we were doing, but it was also their realization that this is going to happen very quickly. People are going to develop networks. Those networks are going to turn into income producing networks even before we open up the doors. And that is what Jeff has been saying. It's a tragedy that he was cutting in and out, because what he was saying is unbelievably important.
Well, we're going to be doing a whole bunch more of these meetings, because again, you can't stop. I mean, the floodgates are about to open. If you cannot feel and listen to the energy on all of these recent meetings that we have had, now is the time. And don't feel like you have to convince anyone to participate in this. The ones that want to participate in this movement will participate. I cannot thank you enough, Craig, for your insight on the future of where we're going. And for all of those who joined for the first time to hear about this opportunity, make sure that you get back to the person that invited you, and make sure that you start making your list now, because now is the time to participate in something so big. With that said, Craig, thank you so very much for joining us. We're so excited. Have a blessed day, and we'll keep going, guys. Let's go. Take care. Bye, Craig.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jeff.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Craig.
And thank you, Tracy.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great job,
Thank you,
everyone. Thank you
Craig.
so much.
Thank you.
Here.